What is going on, everybody? I'm So back again with another video. Today's video, we're gonna dive into the whole Kyrie Irving situation, what's been happening in Brooklyn, what's been happening in LA. I'm gonna give my take on if I believe a trade will happen or not. So it looks like the Nets are ready to move on from Kyrie Irving. Recent reports from Woj and Shams has the Lakers as his preferred destination. Talks of a Kyrie Irving trade first started just before the NBA draft. At the time, many people looked at it as nothing, but when Kevin Durant requested his trade, that's when things started to heat up more. Chris Haynes recently dropped some major news regarding a package, and looking at what he talked about, it seems like it's a done deal. LeBron James has expressed his want for Kyrie Irving, and it's crazy that a player of his caliber can only get so little in return. So let's get into how we got here. For Kyrie Irving, it really started during his time in Boston. He said he wanted to stay in Boston, but then bolted a year later to Brooklyn. He had plenty of run-ins with the media, essentially was saying things that normal players would not have said. He threw out a lot of subliminal messages and was really gunning at these analysts that had things to say about him. Once he got to Brooklyn, things didn't really slow down. To start it all off, he didn't really vouch for Steve Nash as a head coach. The Nets made this big trade for James Harden, and Kyrie Irving essentially pushed him out. He wasn't really playing this year due to COVID. I don't want to get too deep into the politics, but Kyrie Irving chose to not get the vaccine. He essentially was a part-time hooper. You know, he only played half the year, and this hurts a team looking for a championship because Kyrie Irving wasn't really able to get into a rhythm. He couldn't really gain chemistry with players, and all of these issues really creeped into the playoffs and was a big reason as to why the Brooklyn Nets were swept. We look at Kyrie Irving as a player. I mean, he's this 26, 27 point per game guy. He's not the most athletic, but he's efficient around the rim. One of the top point guards in the league. When you factor in all the off the court things, it does make sense why the Nets would rather get rid of this headache and just move on. Another reason, and honestly what I believe to be the biggest reason, is Kyrie's uncertainty with his future. Kyrie Irving opted into his player option, and he will be an unrestricted free agent next season. This could offer Kyrie Irving a 5-year max deal. He could retire in the middle of it. And if he's retiring, the Nets could have to pay him when he's not even playing. It's all of those reasons why his value is so low, and the Lakers are the only team crazy enough to trade for him. The trade package between the Lakers and Nets discussed around Kyrie Irving is Russell Westbrook, Taylor Horton-Tucker, and future first-round picks for Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris. There's been reports that the Lakers would rather have Seth Curry than Joe Harris, but I mean, come on, bro. Beggars cannot be choosers. Aside from Kyrie Irving, the big talk about this entire package is Russell Westbrook. Russ has went through a lot this year. I mean, he was the scapegoat for the Lakers. Russell Westbrook is a ball-dominant player, and you pair him up with LeBron and AD, who are two other ball-dominant players. And we've seen it on every single LeBron James-led team. It takes a year for them to really get acclimated to each other to play their best. We saw it in Miami when it was Dwayne Wade and LeBron and Chris Bosh. Dwayne Wade had to take a back seat for them to shine. We saw it in Cleveland with Kevin Love. Kevin Love changed his entire game to mesh and work with LeBron James. And we saw it again this year. And it's kind of crazy that the Lakers don't want to give it another year. But then again, the Lakers window is short. They have to win now. I just believe that all the backlash Russell Westbrook got this year wasn't warranted. You know, you can talk about his stats, why he played so poorly, but I mean, he was playing a lot of the time with guys like Stanley Johnson and Austin Reeves. Anthony Davis missed a lot of time with injury. LeBron James missed a lot of time with injury. I mean, Russell Westbrook was their most reliable player. He played 78 games. If an opportunity like this happens, you have to jump on it. And if it means moving on from Russ, it was unfortunate what happened this year, but it's just something you got to do. What would a trade like that mean for the Brooklyn Nets? Well, I mean, if they trade Kyrie, I think they'd soon after trade KD, or vice versa. Russell Westbrook will only be a stopgap until a rebuild. You can look to move him, or you can just play it out a year and then he walks in free agency. You get Taylor Horton-Tucker, who might be something for you, and then those future picks, I mean, those picks will probably be in like the late 20s, early 30s. So by then, LeBron will be long gone. Who knows what'll happen with Anthony Davis, so those picks could be valuable. And then for the Lakers, of course, you're getting Kyrie Irving, pairing him back up with LeBron James. The duo won a championship before in Cleveland. They were electric, they were exciting, and I think they'd have similar success in LA. But instead of Kevin Love, you'd have this athletic defensive monster in Anthony Davis, and the only question mark is if the trio can stay healthy. This entire offseason just told me that the Nets want to start fresh. Will a trade even happen? What's the purpose of making this whole video? I do believe the Nets control their own destiny, but I feel like a trade has to happen now. It's a difference between trading KD and trading Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie Irving does not want to play for your team, he will sit out. I think this is pretty obvious at this point. If the Nets have an opportunity to get something out of him before he leaves next year, you got to do it. But that, yes, I believe a trade will happen. It's only a matter of when. The Nets can drag this whole thing out, trade Kyrie just when the season starts, and kind of mess with the Lakers. That's the path that I kind of see them taking. The Lakers are the aggressors right now, you know, so it's up to them to beef up their package, entice things for the Nets. We'll see what happens. But with that though, guys, it's been another video from So. This offseason has been very crazy. It's been very interesting, and I'm having so much fun talking about it. Like I say in every video, if you guys did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new, guys. Subscribe if you are new. And until my next one, I'm gonna catch you guys, man. Peace.